Good morning. This is Multicultural. I'm so glad to be here this morning in Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and welcome to all of you around the world. I hope we'll have a chance to map around the world and share our ideas related to mobile devices that we carry with us and how we use it in the education. As we're waiting the next 2 minutes, I would like to test the system to make sure everybody could hear me. All right. Please introduce yourself through the chat window. And I also find out how am I going to share the screen. All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome in every language around the world. And 1 more minute, then we will be starting the session. All right, it's again Melda Yildiz, and welcome to Multilingual, Multicultural, Multimedia Resources projects presentation. All right, I'm sharing the screen, and we will be able to go back and forth. And you will see my background. I picked from Google Hangout backgrounds. I hope we'll be all in the beach sometime soon this year and enjoy. And those of you who are under the beach, please enjoy on our behalf as well. All right, I would like to start my presentation with first thanking the people who've been working with me over the years, collecting data, working on action research projects, and my students who produced a lot of resources. And today I will be sharing with some of those resources, and we're hoping that the website that I created for this session will be an area for our dialogue so we can go back and forth and share our resources. So when you get a chance, also take a look at this survey I created for the students, and please take the survey if you can. So we'll take a look at it at the end of the session. All right. And let's also put the website for slides, and then I will also post the video in this link for you for our future collaborations. All right, thank you again so much for coming. I will be sharing the screen and going over my slides, and please join in and edit it anytime. This slides are open for editing, public editing resources. All right, let me share my slides with you. I hope you're seeing my slides. Let's start with the title page. All right. All right. Welcome. Hoş geldiniz. Bienvenido. Selamun alaikum. Ni hao. The session today is called Integrating Mobile Technologies into Multilingual, Multicultural, Multimedia Projects. My name is Melda, and I currently teach at Walden University as a contributing faculty in the Global and Comparative Education program. And some of these slides based on my teacher education students and my collaborators and a lot of colleagues around the world. And this is my email. If you want to reach me out, Melda Yildiz at fulbrightmail.org. So please email me your questions after the session for this email address. Thank you. Again, welcome everyone. I would like to start with a map. And in this map, if you can see, this is a map that started me thinking how certain maps tell certain stories. And if you go to Greenland and just look at the Greenland, as well as the, here it is, Greenland, and as well as the Africa, it seems on this map, they look the same size. And if you look at the ratios, I did a little Wolfram Alpha as a computational search, knowledge search engine. And if you look at its size of Greenland versus Africa is actually given. And then when you put the formulas together, Africa, in terms of the miles square mile, it's actually 14 times bigger than Greenland. Well, why do we see this map? Why, over the years, we believe that Northern Hemisphere has a bigger landmass than the South? Years ago, I also come across this map, which is called upside down map. Later on, I found out that the student who first drew the map, Australia being in the center, at the top of the map, scolded by the teachers. Later on, this map sold millions. And you can also see a Peters projection. And if you look at this map, at the very bottom corner, you will see the first map that we looked at actually puts a proportion of 2/3 of the world map at the top, and the equator is actually lower at the bottom. And it also shows in the second map how Greenland and Africa is the same. But this Peters projection also is a weird map that we don't see usually in our classrooms. This is a map that shows the actual size, but it looks a bit elongated. Since the Earth is rounded, it's very difficult to put a rounded image into 2D format. But when you're putting these images, it's not right or wrong. It's alternative images that needs to be put into the classroom. When I was doing a maps, math, and media workshops to high school students several years ago, later on I did it with the middle school students, I collected a lot of things related to maps. I showed them how they can collect data using GPS devices. So as a mobile tool, let me show you the tool that we use in the classroom. This is not a regular, one second, let me go back to show you the picture. All right, here it is. This is, if you can see, this is a data collection GPS device. So it is not, and I don't know if you can see, it seems like we have enough battery to look at things. We can also find in this map certain parts, and it will show a lot of details. I'm trying to go see now something that may be useful. You're probably seeing things upside down. We can do geocaching with this one. You could do elevation plotting. You could actually take pictures and tag those pictures wherever it's taken. So this specific tool, I used it also in Turkmenistan. And one of the stories about Turkmenistan, it looks like a phone. And in Turkmenistan, I did not have a phone. Foreigners do not, won't be able to buy a phone. I mean, they can buy a phone, but they can't buy those chips to use it. So I had a phone through the embassy, and phones do not have internet connection and so on. So I'm talking about 2009 when I had this device, and I picked it up and it collected data from the satellites orbiting around the Earth. And I said, oh, maybe I can use this device to do something. Later on, the students got interested. So we did community mapping project where we mapped the historical sites, touristic routes, and bus routes using the device, where we not only collected data during the day, we uploaded the data to the computer, and later on added information into those dots that we collected. So we did a little bit map making. That was very well received. And when I did workshops, I had people from industry, from business world start to come to these workshops, and they said, it is very important to know the coordinates. It's very important to know how to collect data to be able to build the next Shoda center, they call it, the mall. And they also told me how having these tools help community to get together and learn from each other. And this is a new country building on the fault lines. They had a huge earthquake that took huge amount of lives. So if they know that they're building on the fault lines, they need to be careful. So I was invited for the Seismology Institute, gave a brief presentation. Later on, they called me back to do some GIS presentations. And at this point, I was no near to be an expert. I don't have any, except this one little device I had. I did not have any training or knowledge or experience with using GPSs in the classroom. The more we learned from each other, the students collected data in the fields. The more we talked with the business people, other stakeholders. I was also told to be very careful by the embassy, because Americans doing research is on the field may look very suspicious or not welcomed. So I was, although I was told it's dangerous, I end up being on the national news. I end up working with Turkmen scholars, and the last 4 years I've been invited by the Turkmen president, Hürmetli President Berdi Muhammedov, to present my GPS-related classroom-based projects. So this was my Fulbright assignment in 2009, and now I'm back, and I realized I have so much more to learn and share with my high school students in New Jersey. And let's go start sharing the window again. And my presentation based on maps, math, and media took me into children's books, took me into different surveys I created. I found that the students in high school or in middle school had a difficulty with integrating maps, because geography was a separate class, and it's not integrated into social studies, language arts or math classes. So math and media class, we deconstructed. This is um, little story I want to add. A colleague of mine told me, "Oh, you do know Follow the Drinking Gourd? It's a song." And I welcome you to Google and find beautiful versions of this song. This is a song that's um, tells us to go follow the, not the drinking gourd, of course, the shape of the star, the North Star. So during the Underground Railroad project, where people were moving from south to north for escaping from slavery, this was a song that they were teaching their young kids, or um, creating maps onto their tapestries. And the goal is to memorize these lyrics where it tells the story how to go to north. So maps is important, and it could be in a song, it could be in a poem, it could be even sewn in um, a tapestry or blanket. And as I said, maps is important, and we also taught the kids how they can calculate um, locations. For instance, using the device, you can walk around the area, and then you can find how many square miles, how many acres. So we did a lot of math-related geometry, math-related projects. And my projects also presented in several conferences with my colleagues, and I welcome you to contact me on that. And here is the website, curacel18.wikispaces.com, where we posted our presentations. Here's a screen capture of one of the projects, but this GPS device allows you, without any internet connection, without any cell phone connection, this allows you to collect data on a field. And this is a Caspian Sea where I had the chance to visit during my Turkmen trip. And you could see between the airport and the hotel, and then a little boat trip that we did in Caspian Sea. And here's another screen capture of how the data shows, and how all these zoo entrances and so on is all documented. And another tool that we used is KML files that we created based on these GPS coordinates, and then we uploaded to Google Earth. So here's the reason why Google Earth is very, very useful, because it layers map. And this is an image of a map from Turkey. It's Euphrates. And the same image, it's the same image layered over it. So if you can see, the area got greener, and there were a huge lake look like there's a huge lake. So the reason why that happened is because Turkey built the Atatürk Dam. So these two maps, layers on top of each other on Google, shows people how you can actually use the maps to talk about local stories and resources. With the students, we use Community Walk, where they created their own communities explained. The one that we created also included historical sites in their neighborhoods. I'm going to take you to another project. This is gallery walk project that we created based on Global Kitchen project that I called, and I collected data. And if you go to our website, you will be able to view using the QR code our gallery walk information. All right, let me talk a little bit about this project. We use cell phones and iPhones, iPads, any tablet PCs basically. Students come with to the classroom. We downloaded QR code and augmented reality software called Orasma. First, the students took a mini survey to find out where they are. And then we had stations around the room to come up with their handout in the first station. Then they play with a GPS device about how the maps map media is connected. They had a voice thread station where they created digital story, a universal design for learning station, augmented reality station, Quizlet station where they take a quiz, multilingual station where they see everything in another language or language of their choice, graphic novels comic station where they see animations about the topic. And then we had a station on graphic organizers where they see how the visual strategies for active learning. And then we had a station for them to dance and move around. And of course, we had to celebrate our learning at the end. When you work with the students, they believe what they see on television more than what they Google on a Google search than anything else. We know that media and information literacy skills are critically important so that they can distinguish facts from propaganda. This was a very popular website to collect money for dioxygen monoxide and talking about all the harms that the oxygen monoxide creates. This website created by a student, and the oxygen monoxide is actually H2O, which is water. So the students, when they look at it, it's very surprising that most of the websites, they think they're correct, is actually needs to be deconstructed because it could be a fake website that trying to sell a message, or it could be a PR website to tell a whole different story, because when people do Google search, we know that it actually puts the one who presents their stuff, who sells their stuff, who buys their stuff, puts a different order. How to teach this media literacy and information literacy skills? Of course, it's a whole experience. It's a process. It doesn't just start with, oh, I'm aware of the fact that this happens. They not only need to analyze and deconstruct and then reflect on it, but it's also very critical that they need to take action. If they see anything, they need to maybe talk to an internet contact information, or sign petitions, or write letters to Congress people. This is very important. That in teacher education programs, I want my students to take action, creating innovative, transformative, and inclusive lesson plans. That takes me into special education, where I found mobile technologies are extremely important because everybody has a disability or ability. So how are we going to bring it together so everybody learns from each other? So universal design for learning, why, what, and how of learning, for instance, is what I would like to emphasize. Because when we create lessons, we need to engage the students, we need to show representations, and we need to show them that how of learning part, where student needs to express what they know. And this National Center for Universal Design for Learning comes with amazing checkpoints. So when you create a lesson plan, they have templates that you can follow. It allows you to create a lesson plan that's accessible to everyone. So it's not just, oh, I have special ed students, I need to do this. It's for every student who needs different resources. And for that leads me into differentiation. So with mobile technologies, having one cell phone, one iPad, one computer, one GPS device, you will be able to create or one audio um, device like one of those maybe audio listening devices. You can create an atmosphere. Not everyone has to have the same software or same hardware. You can actually rotate the groups of students to complete tasks around the room. So that's Carol Tomlinson work. It's really ties perfectly into mobile learning. For professional development, of course, everything that the pedagogy requires, um, teachers needs to be um, trained and had access to all these resources. For instance, assessment. There's so many innovative ways you can do assessment. Earlier, I was attending a presentation by Berkman, who's the flipped learning leader in the flipped learning, and he basically showed one amazing way that you can show accountability, how you can see the students are accomplished, how much of the process they're in. So with these new technologies, you will be able to pinpoint the problem and do some data-driven instruction. And it's not just, oh, I'm so scared from the numbers. No, it's in this day and age with innovative tools out there, teachers will be able to understand that among their 5 learning goals, let's say that learning goal 3 has 80% accuracy, learning goal 4 has 20% accuracy. So instead of worrying about all the learning goals, teacher will point out and find out that, oh, maybe learning goal 4 is what he or she needs to review for the next day, not all the rest of the learning goals who had already reached 80% accuracy. So what is a teacher in 21st century looks like? It's definitely a teacher that is different than the teachers we trained before. It's not textbook format anymore. It's more interdisciplinary, more collaborative, more project learning, more globally connected, critical thinker. Um, and this is a TPAC model that you might be familiar with. That's really is critical. You see, the technology knowledge is part of the circle. So our teachers needs to have this mobile connections, mobile resources. When I had the chance to present in Turkmenbashi in 2009 for UNESCO conference and met the ministers at that time, my presentation was how we can integrate ICTs. So ICT actually is at that time for computers, but now it moved into any mobile device, including our cell phones. But what we do in the classroom is ban the cell phones. Maybe it's time to bring the innovations. And I love Jean Piaget's quote, are we forming children who are only capable of learning what is already known? Or should we try to develop creative and innovative minds capable of discovery from the preschool age on throughout life? And I truly believe this only happens when we open our minds to innovative tools and bring it to our classroom. Because let's say, give me a fact. There are Mount Everest, let's say, in Asia. This is a fact. Anybody could Google and get this information. But knowing Mount Everest and its importance to, let's say, global warming or its connection to um, the local resources, how people need to understand the like not like what's how tall it is, but the importance of people trying to understand, for instance, the science part of it, how um, rock formations or it's actually a very interesting presentation I attended several years ago. I think it's a couple of years now, um, on how all the problems in Tibet has nothing to do with the Buddhism or clashes between China and Tibet. It's actually the, the most important resource. The frozen water resources come from the area. So there are some political critical thinking going on in the region. And that takes me into my favorite uh, quotes on mindset, because Dr. Dweck, Carol Dweck, when um, she talked about in her long-term research, how believe how you need to believe that you can do something is more important than someone who's gifted, because a gifted person kept if we keep telling you're gifted, they have a set mind that I am gifted, but later on they are not taking risks, they're not learning from their results, they're just putting a limit into their growth. So she definitely encourages our growth mind. And then security and ethics and how we're going to survive in this information highway is critical. Oh, I wanted quickly to share with you this poem came to me years ago, and I highlighted the word sprite because it says that after you read this poem, please forward to your friends, because um, somebody died every second from a drunk driving and so on. And if you read the poem, you told me not to drink, mom, so I had a Sprite instead. I found that this actually mad organization, very mad, because it doesn't say what you're going to do after 5,000 signatures. It doesn't give all the details. So if you have chance to Google snoops.com, it actually gave detailed information about how spams like this goes around the world, and you believe that you need to stop this. However, I mean, the topic is true, like half truth, half lies. However, the most important part for me is the word Sprite, because I found the original poem in the website. It's actually said soda. So somebody is also doing maybe product placement here. So students need to be learning not only how to use these technologies, but also how to maneuver and stay safe within the realm of these technologies. That connects me into being world savvy, globally competent students. And it's the same framework. You're going to get the knowledge, you're going to get the skills, you're going to reflect, you're going to develop behaviors, and you're going to take action onto uh, this is a global competency matrix created by several organizations. And one of the interesting things is that taking action is similar to media literacy framework. The last one is the assessment and standardization. How are we going to standardize? How are we going to make sure our students are learning? How are we going to um, show some accountability? Here it is, a beautiful quote that gets us into thinking. Not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. So if we look at the pedagogy of plenty model, where it um, says, how are you going to assess a storytelling or global competency or multicultural content? Um, I believe in this transdisciplinary model, you need to have several different approaches and different ways to assess the uh, projects. And most importantly, people need to understand assessment for learning as opposed to assessment. All learning needs to be discussed. So not just focusing on the summative test, but also formative tests where the students are assessed by the self, by the peer, as well as the other stakeholders. And pedagogy of plenty, as opposed to pedagogy of poverty, it kind of uh, connects us even with the parents, because most of the schools blame parents in pedagogy of poverty schools, where the teachers give too much busy work, and the parents um, who work on 2, 3 jobs did not have skill sets to be able to solve the homeworks. So it is very critical that when we think about assessment, we do not want to mix homeworks with assessment, because homework can be done by a competent parent who happen to be an expert in physics, or let's say a fluent writer will be able to do a homework that may receive higher marks. So pedagogy of plenty um, is genuinely invites the parents, but not just give the busy homework to home. And another person I want to connect us to is Yang Zhao, who talks about United States is busy closing the achievement gap, as opposed to Asian countries are busy closing the creativity gap. It is very critical for us to understand these mobile tools should not be um, seen as, oh, here's the solution. It may be destroying our students' creativity, because the most important thing is not to give the kids how to Google, but how to decipher the information and take action on the information. So mobile technologies is just a tool. It's not. It's important that it's not limiting our students' creativity. I would like to um, focus very important consumer versus producer model, because now these new technologies allow us um, to be producers of knowledge. So what we see in the classrooms, students just watch YouTube videos or just watch information that's given it to them. It's not any different than the textbook format that we used to have. But we want to be able to create new media and technologies, be able to talk back to the media and create alternative media. And here are some tools that mobile technologies come handy with polling. Um, so you can find out. You can also use Google Voice for collecting students' information, especially a great tool for language classrooms where the students communicate. Education must begin with the solution of the teacher and student contradiction by reconciling the poles of the contradiction so that both are simultaneously teachers and students. And you can also ask to be rated at the end of the session to see if your students are so scared for this session, or do they like it, or do they really had fun. I have this multicultural, multilingual, multimedia model based on 9M model, where you can integrate music to media, to mathematics, to maps, and or languages and new technologies into your curriculum. So mobile technologies allows you, for instance, any poster they're looking at, any textbook they're looking at, they can hover over with them and an app that will solve the problem, or there are apps that translates the documentation that's on the screen, so students will be able to read and learn in a language that they're more capable of at the beginning. Then they can comprehend the topic. So if necessary, we can turn our classrooms not just learning one language, but using mobile devices, we can actually speak the languages of the classroom, where the teachers use these devices to make it multilingual. I want to give you one quick example about a student who said, oh, I created a project on a Cinderella story from China. In the story, good characters speak almost perfect English, and the bad characters speak English with a heavy Chinese accent. And after the student was so excited showing the little clip, which I put the link up for you, you can have a chance to look at it. It is, when I pointed out the accents, when I point out the body features, how the skin colors and so on, and the voiceovers, how bad characters are speak English with an accent. What does this tell to students? So this is the multicultural end, where the students are using any mobile tools, any search engines. They should be able to see and detect and read between the lines and question why they use this color, why they use that angle, why they have a certain um, character chosen for that role. So, what is competency? Do we have any global competency? And how are we going to get it? Again, this 9M model takes us to multicultural world history, religion, linguistics, multilingualism, and so on. So, this is a screen capture of a project my daughter was part of when she was a second grader. And in number 2, the answer was front. But it's very interesting. At that time, I learned that that black man sat in, by the way, um, there's actually even a spelling mistake, couldn't sat in front of a bus. A black woman sat in the bus. Actually, that black woman they're mentioning is Rosa Parks, and Rosa Parks was not sitting in front of the bus. She was in the middle. So these very small nuances needs to be deconstructed. And I showed the students a picture I took in the middle of a bus that was a designated seat for Rosa Parks in San Antonio, Texas. And here is a definition for global competency, some of the students' responses that you can have a chance to read, and how, oops, double slides, that's we're going to delete. Then how we used voice chat, how we looked at video clips and integrated quizzes, and how people saw what's being sold. There is critical issues on access, because this is the first time the teachers can liberate themselves from a textbook format, bringing these alternative mobile resources into their classroom, and it brings a new global point of view. And how are we going to structure a class? We're going to structure a class by deconstructing, researching, and constructing. And as you can see here, Drona Hobbs, who's a leader in media education, talks about we live in a symbol-rich culture, but that demands multiple literacy. So the students cannot just say, "Oh, I can see," but language of the image needs to be critically reflected. And I want to close with Umberto Eco's quote that makes me always think: what is a democratic civilization? What is a good democratic education is? So, a democratic civilization will save itself only if it makes the language of the image into a stimulus for critical reflection, not an invitation to hypnosis. And I have a lot of exercises that I share with the students, how, for instance, CNN has to change their polling results from one to another, because one of them you could see it started at 53, and 1 hour later they had to put a map to show that it's actually starting 0. Doesn't look like they're any different from each other. And we also discussed how science means different things in different eras, how semiotics, this is a study of science, depending on the location, what 0 means or what okay means could be different in different cultures. So while we are looking at any data, how are we going to analyze it? So again, this takes us into media education and looking at the images in a Zoom format or out of the Zoom format. And one of the exercises we had done, this is a project on teaching Hindi, introduction to Hindi and Indian culture. As you can see, all the students together, danced together, learned, and these are our faculty who taught the language and used mobile devices. Every student received an iPod Touch, which included Bollywood music, apps, writing tools, listening tools, and they learned 1, 2, 3s, playing cricket. They learned how to order food in a real restaurant, so it was an authentic experience. Included mobile technology, where everything that they learned was filmed, recorded, uploaded, shared, and the students also had a chance to communicate with other students around the world and use the system called Orkut, similar to Facebook, to be able to write and read. Thank you so much. Again, this is my email. If you happen to be stumbled upon this video and had a chance to watch, it's a wonderful experience to be online and teaching for EdCamp conference this morning. I cannot thank you enough for watching. And if you have any questions, please contact me. I am always looking for collaboration around the world, trying to find ways in which we can learn from new technologies and improve our um, teacher education programs, as well as the courses that we teach in every field. Right now, I'm in Eastern International College as an assessment director, and we're using new technologies to improve assessment in healthcare industry and how it's improved student learning. Thank you, merci beaucoup, obrigado, teşekkür ederim, terima kasih, grazie, toda, 谢谢, dhanyawad. Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you for watching.